Right, Tom. 0-0 draw with Plymouth Parkway today. What are your initial thoughts after today's game?
I think we're frustrated, and we feel it's probably a missed opportunity in terms of how the game panned out with them losing a man. And it being pretty much wave after wave of attacks on our part for a significant period of the second half, or certainly after the sending off. So, bearing in mind we had all that possession, we had all that territory, we had so many deliveries into their box. You do feel you've got to show enough quality to get the goal that gets you the 3 points, because understandably they pretty much sacrificed themselves as an attacking force and just sat in with the intent on keeping a clean sheet, which is exactly what you'd expect. But what I'm trying to say is you didn't really have to deal with any sort of attacking threat on their part, so it's just a question of us trying to build our attacks, trying to penetrate, and we just, as I say, it wasn't for a lack of effort. I thought you could see there was a real desire for us to try and win the games, and I thought the players sort of put everything into trying to win the game. It was just we were a little bit blunt, if you like, in those attacking areas. We didn't create anything clear cut, but it was always going to be difficult to sort of carve things out because of the way they was defending so deep. So it's a question of ending up with balls into the box, which they dealt with very well, and that's probably where we came up a bit short. Could we have been a bit better in terms of the quality of our delivery, and certainly could we have been a bit more dynamic and better in terms of how we moved and how we attacked those crosses. I felt there was probably quite a few that were too close to their goalkeeper that got them out of jail on a few occasions, but credit to the goalkeeper, credit to their defenders. I did feel they dealt with that, but overall I think, as I say, the way the game panned out with the sending off and them camping in and allowing us the ball, the overwhelming emotion I think is frustration.
Yeah, is it perhaps one of those where you have to give credit to the opposition because they got their setup right with 10 men, it seems?
Yeah, I mean, they were always going to bank in, and that's always going to make life difficult, and it just puts the onus on you to show some quality and have that little bit that creates the spark that can lead to a goal. And we didn't have that, and I think you have to just say combination of our own inadequacies combined with, as you say, sort of dogged and determined defending on their part.
Just rewinding to the first half, they made a very strong start, and Jameson certainly kept you in it with a couple of good saves early on.
Yeah, I mean, they often start games well, and we talked about that. And you're right, I felt we looked a little bit uncertain, but we managed to get through without conceding, and I think that's a positive, because we are trying to develop, as I've talked about, a bit more of a resilience, and I think we showed that, and it just gives you a platform to sort of play your way into games. And other than those early spells, I thought even in the second half of the first half, I felt we came into it and we were much better. And then, as I say, in the second half, we felt they had a difficult game on Tuesday. We did feel the longer the game went on, the more we might be able to get a real foothold. And I think that would have happened irrespective of the sending off, but the sending off has clearly helped shift things our way. And it was just one-way traffic, as I say, wave after wave of attack, but we just didn't quite have that cutting edge that we needed to make the breakthrough.
I guess you look back on this game when the dust settles as another point picked up there?
Yeah, we were just talking about that with James, and it's mixed emotions because they're on a really powerful run. I think if you look at current form, they're the best team in the league. So, on the one hand, it's a sort of credible point, but it's just because of the circumstances with them having a man down and us having all that territory that you feel a bit frustrated.
No worries. How difficult was it for you to sort of pick Ed James over Ian Turner, given how impressed you were with him last week?
I said to Ian, it's sort of one of those decisions that I couldn't really explain it in terms of it wasn't fair, it was unfair, but in the position we're in, I just feel I have to be quite ruthless, and I made the call, and it's tough on Ian because he's been exceptional, but sometimes you've got to do what you've got to do, if you like, and Ian, to his great credit, has taken it in a really good way, and he's ended up coming on the pitch and again showed a real maturity, and he seems to be, from I'm getting to know him, and he's a really sort of dignified and intelligent lad, and he sort of understands things, and I feel he just needs to keep going, and hopefully from his point of view he can go on to sort of bigger and better things. But he showed a real maturity, I felt, and intelligence in terms of understanding the decision and then reacting to it in the right way by coming on and performing in the way that he did.
Yeah, as you said there, he got the final 30 minutes, didn't he, at the expense of Will Spetch. Is that tactical or injury to Will?
No, Will was struggling a little bit with his calf. With typical Will, he wanted to play, and not many people would have would have started the game. Certainly not many would have lasted the time he lasted. But he's a real warrior, sort of a bit of a throwback, and he's always prepared to do that. As good as Giant was, we did miss. With all those deliveries, all those corners. I mean, obviously it's a big miss for us. That in terms of our threat, you think to yourself, if we had Will, purely nothing to do with defending, but just from an attacking point of view, if we had Will, that would have probably just given us that little bit more. So that was the way the game panned out, with all those balls going in the box, all those corners. Not having Will was a bigger blow than you would have thought, because from a defensive point of view, they weren't interested in posing a threat, so it was never going to damage us too much from that point of view. But certainly I think it did damage us a little bit with our attacking play.
Okay, a final word on the main positive for you today.
Clean sheet. We couldn't really get one for love or money, and we've got 2 in 3. And we haven't lost against a very informed side, so I think we've got a clean bill of health in terms of injury. So and we go into now a massive sort of week with Saturday Didcot, Tuesday Hanwell. I think that's the way round it is. 2 away games. So just we can. If you got beat today, again you're going into those games a little bit deflated. So it's a mini run. I know it's a very mini run, 3 games, but we just have to make sure that it doesn't dent our belief in what we're trying to do, and we go into those 2 games, and if we can get good points in those 2 games, hopefully the league table will look a little bit more healthy.
Great stuff. All right, Tom.
All right.